welcome to Scrap the Challenge for this week. And Kelly and I decided this week that we'd like to work on some projects where we were using some tools from our stash and from our craft rooms. And the tools that we kind of decided to focus on were things that would create die cuts and or our own homemade embellishment die cuts. And so I used a combination of some dies, Sizzix dies that I have, and some Stampin' Up dies, and also some punches. So I used things like this border punch. I used a couple of flower punches, and so on and so forth from my craft room as tools to create some embellishments for the layout that I created this week for Scrap the Challenge. So these are just some examples of ones that I didn't use that are very, very similar to or pretty much the same as what I used in the project for this week. So these are some extra ones that I'll just keep either in my kit, my stash kit, or just in my craft room for other projects that I'll be working on. So this was a lot of fun, and using your own punches and dies in your craft room, or your silhouette for that matter, is a great way to create and make your own DIY embellishments for your projects. Cards, scrapbook layouts, whatever you might want to be working on. Anyways, in a few seconds, my process is going to come up, and I hope you stick around to watch, and I'll see you in a few seconds. The paper that I'm using as the base here with the pattern on it, the white paper with the mist, is from another layout that I had where I just took the excess mist off of a stencil and put it onto this piece of white paper, and I wanted to use that up. I didn't want to waste that. And then all of the other pattern papers I'm using here come from my stash kit. So I used all of the little pieces, a lot of the little 6x6 papers from my stash kit to create the embellies, the dies or the die cut embellishments that are those flowers along the bottom. And then I just took a variety of other papers from my stash kit as well to create the layers for the photo mat. I'm just going to take and distress the edges of the papers a little bit, and I'm going to put a little bit of distress ink on the edges just to bring out the edges of the paper. And you'll just see me doing that here in a sped up time. I think I sped this up 3 times or something like that, just to so you weren't so bored watching me do all of this. It does take a little while, and I don't know, I think I did it all on camera too. So this photo was taken on our faux Easter weekend. And so we didn't have Easter here with our family on Easter weekend. We actually had it later. I think it was probably 3 weeks later or something like that, because our kids couldn't come home. They were all busy doing other things. They were away or working or whatever. So they all came home, and we had our actual Easter on a different weekend. And that just made my husband and I so happy to have them all home. So we were taking these silly Snapchat pictures, and this is one of the photos from that Snapchat session. And I just like the flowers in the photo, and there was definitely going to be a kind of a springy flower theme going on in this layout. So I used that specific photograph. And so I'm just going to take these DIY embellishments and just going to lift up the edges a little bit just to create more dimension on the layout. And I'm going to just put those as a little mini border along the bottom of the layout. I'm just going to take this circle pattern paper. This is some Dear Lizzie documentary paper from my stash kit, and this was a piece that was left over from another layout that Kelly and I did when we were focusing on circles, and I'm going to use that as part of this layout too. So I'm just trying to use up as much of my stash kit contents as I can. And this was a lot of fun, actually, creating these little dies. I just sat down one evening with my Big Shot and a bunch of my different dies, my Sizzix dies and my Stampin' Up dies and so on, and some punches, and just created a whole bunch of little embellishments. It did take a little bit of time, but it was fun. And I now have a little iris container, the iris container for photographs. It's a little, I think probably about a 7x5 or something like that container full of little die cuts, not just the ones that I showed you at the beginning of the video here. So this is a really easy way to create your own embellishments. And I feel like we all have quite a few tools in our craft rooms that we don't get out and use as often as we should. And so sometimes just challenging yourself to use some of those tools is a great way to come up with something different, something a little bit new, for a layout that or for a project, whatever you're working on, that is unique and different from something that you might normally may have made if you hadn't challenged yourself to do that. So make sure you check out Kelly's channel and her video for this project as well. I'll leave the link in the description below the video for Kelly's channel so that you can remember to check out her video also for this challenge. So I'm just going to take some of my little silver dots, little silver embellishments from my stash, and I don't know where these came from, maybe Stampin' Up, I'm not sure, but I'm just going to add a little bit of silver detail to these butterflies. And I didn't put any gold in my stash kit at all, so every one of the layouts that Kelly and I are doing with our stash kit, I'm not using any gold. It's all silver, I'm pretty sure anyways, other than maybe a little bit of gold color shine on a layout somewhere along the line. I can't remember, but this one I didn't use any gold at all. So all of the color shine that I'm using is either pink or yellow or navy, or I got the new mint green Heidi Shine, which I absolutely love. It's really, really super pretty. So I'm just taking some of the alphas that I put into my stash kit, and I'm going to use those. I think these ones might be Amy Tan. And I just really love these. They're the puffy kind of epoxy alphas, and I think that they just looked really nice. They matched the colors of the different pattern papers in the layout, and I thought that they just popped off of there really well. So the title is going to end up being Happy Smile Today, and the today is from a Dear Lizzie documentary rub-on. I rubbed that on, and then I just went around it with a black pen, and now you can see I've sewn some lines onto my layout to do my journaling, and I just did those in some yellow thread. I put the lines down with my ruler with a pencil, and then I just sewed using the lines so that I got my lines straight. I'm just showing you some of the color shine that I'm going to use, or I plan to use, and then I'm going to show you how I used that scallop border punch to go all the way around the outside edge of the layout, and then I mounted the whole thing on some navy pattern paper. So that's my layout for this week. I hope you enjoyed watching my process. This is a lot of fun to create, and we are challenging you to get into your craft room and use some of those tools that you haven't used for a while. So thanks so much for joining us this week, and have an amazing weekend and rest of your week, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.